What is up, fellow modelers? Today we're building the Tamiya P-51 Mustang. Let's get right into it. So the quality of this kit is really good. Obviously, it's one of those kits that you pick up and you build it, slap it together, and it obviously builds itself, basically. I'm using some Quinta Studios 3D decals, and that's going to help this build go a long ways, as those interior decals are really sweet, super realistic, and perfect to go in these 1/48 scale kits. So on this model, I'm going to be using the Quinta Studios interior decal set from Quinta Studios, and it's really cool. You just kind of shave off any interior details that are not going to be in the way, and then you slap them on. So we'll just see this process right here. This was kind of intimidating for me at first, but it turned out to be way easier than I thought, and also it gave the interiors such detail, way better than I could have ever done. So it was really fun using them. Since they are pre-painted, I opted to go ahead and prime all these parts on the interior of the P-51 with some Vallejo green primer. Then I used some Vallejo olive drab to accent all those colors. It's a little bit lighter than the other colors, as I added a drop of yellow to this olive drab just to kind of heighten its color. Once that was coated, I was actually going to use PVA glue to actually put these interior decals onto the model itself. And like I said, just put a little bit of PVA glue and then dip those things in water, and they water slide right off of that water slide. So then they go right into the model exactly perfectly where they're supposed to go. It's super fun to use these. Also, it saved me a lot of time in my build process, which is really important sometimes. As you can see, they are highly detailed. They literally look realistic, and it's just super cool and fun to use with just using a little bit of glue, and they slide right off and put into place. I was literally amazed by using them, honestly. They were really easy and fun to use, and I think I can't go any other way with any interiors because this is just super fun. Next, I did some chipping methods on the interior with a little sponge and some aluminum paint. As you know, that's my go-to process for doing any type of sponge chipping. Plus, I used this really old and raggedy brush to put on some more chipping spots. If you've seen any of my other videos, then you know that I dip this into the paint very lightly, and then I sponge it right off into a paper towel, and dipping and dabbing it a million times in the paper towel, making it super dry so that it doesn't leave too much of a harsh effect on the aircraft. Next, I do some weathering on the interior of this P-51 with some dark brown wash from Vallejo. Actually, I think it was MIG. This stuff, if you let it sit for a little bit after shaking it, it actually is very thin. So what you can do is just apply it to the model and actually just let it run its course a little bit, and then you'll have a nice dirt effect on your aircraft. I don't actually like to use very much thinner after this process, as it is thin enough where it won't make too much of a mess on your airplane before you actually rub the majority of it off. So it's a good way to keep it nice and light and subtle, but also have that dirt effect run its course on the interior of the aircraft. Next, I weather the black parts of the airplane with all natural color from Ammo MIG, and that seems to do the trick as well. This is the final product of the interior of the P-51D Mustang. Turned out really great. Even though there's some color alterations, I don't mind that. The control panel, instrument panel, looks literally realistic, and I really did do a good job with that leather, I feel like. It looks like a beaten leather seat. I don't think I could do any better than that. Besides the giant piece of Oakley hair hanging off of it, this is a completed interior of the P-51, and it was super fun with that interior decal set from Quinta Studios. So yeah, gotta try it out because it's super easy and way easier than you think, and super fun. Makes your interior look really, really realistic. And if I do say so myself, this is potentially cheating in modeling. This is completely cheating in modeling. Now, pun of the day, we are going to fuse the fuselage together. If you got it, then that's good. If you didn't, then that's okay. You'll catch along someday with puns. And sand these things out and mud the joints, and then sand again and rescribe the panel lines like I always do. And yeah, so same process over and over again with these scale model kits. Gonna do some scribing here with a micro razor blade for the panel lines, and this seems to be the best way to do it. I've tried it with scriber lines, but I have a very fidgety hand, so it usually ends up to be my destruction. But then you just put some glue into that seam line and it clears it right up. Then after some more seam work and sanding and more sanding, and finally another touch of some Tamiya extra thin on the panel line, then yeah, I think I'm good to go here. Next, I can finally put in the rest of the parts for the main assembly of the fuselage and wings. So obviously this is a Tamiya kit, so everything fits together perfectly and there's no question about it. There is some concern on these gun bay doors as they did not line up exactly right, so there's some filler to be used there, but everywhere else literally lined up perfectly as long as you were careful, trimmed off your joint seams right, and yeah, it goes together perfectly, so there's no complaints here. Obviously, by sliding this wing in, you basically don't even have to glue it in, but it's a good idea to do so anyways. Next, I drill out the holes to put the drop tank on, and I actually opted to only put one drop tank on this aircraft. I thought it'd be unique, and I am going to be 100% honest, I lost the other drop tank, so I then decided it would be unique after I lost the drop tank. So there's that. But I clipped these things so that I could do the DJ stripes on the underside of the wing perfectly smooth and even. I glued them into place temporarily, and then I was able to put those D-Day stripes on later. Next, I prepped the windshield. I painted this area flat black, as I do believe that this color was there for the Mustang, but I honestly don't even know. Some spots I paint black, some spots I paint olive drab. It's just a pick of the day. It kind of happens that way, you know? So next I wanted to do a nice leather cushion. If you were to bang your head on this thing, you'd be fine with this leather. It would work. So I did some olive drab brown for the first coat, and then I highlighted some areas. I also texturized this a little bit by letting the paint dry a little bit and then stippling the brush on that dry paint just a bit to texture it up. Next, I used some lighter colors to highlight that kind of leather tone that I'm going for in this area, and I used tan and a little bit of yellow as well. Now I just randomly sporadically kind of put this on the whole surface of the leather area, and then I used a dark wash to wash it all in and blend those colors and tones in with each other, making a nice rippled effect along with a textured effect along with a nice color for a kind of leather type area. Next, I used some natural blend or whatever from Ammo MIG and highlighted this area. As you can see, the instrument panel and everything inside makes the interior hyper realistic. Next, I need to mask off the canopy and get this thing locked in so I can finally prime it. I'm using Edwards mask to help me out on this process, as it does save a lot of time, and time is money, so $6 here and there really is pretty much nothing. Plus you get a mask for all the wheels and everything, so it's a pretty legit deal if you ask me. So I just apply this to the model without even taking it off and putting it on the aircraft. Everyone has a particular different way to do this. Sometimes I do it this way. Sometimes I put it on the model before I tape it. It just depends on my mood, basically. Then I glue it with some clear glue and pop it on the model. I then can tape off the rest of the canopy that comes with the kit, and this is a strenuous, tricky process. I don't know if I should have put this on before or after that. The way I did it before I put it on the actual like canopy frame. I don't know if it's better to maybe put the glass on the frame so you can fill in the seam there, or do it the way I did it. I don't see or notice anything particular, but I know it's there. And since I was the one who built it, I know it's there. And I would opt to just kind of maybe fill in that seam before you put the mask and tape on. But I'm using Vallejo liquid mask, which is super easy to use. You just apply it to the model and there's no troubles whatsoever once it's on and dried. So this was primed. And now I'm doing the white, which I deeply regret even trying to do white over black, but I'm doing it. So here I am doing 1,000 coats of Tamiya white. I literally couldn't thin this stuff. I think Vallejo white is better if it didn't come out looking like chunky spaghetti, but it does. But anyways, after 1,000 coats, I was finally able to tape and spray the black stripes white for the D-Day stripes. I'm spraying flat black with Tamiya for these D-Day stripes, and that seemed to work pretty good for this effect here, as there was no bleed in or run through on the tape because the paint dries very quickly, and that gave me some really nice crisp lines. Also, it has a very fast dry time, and I know since it's not a gloss, it will peel the tape much better in crisper lines as well. Now onto some very satisfying tape pulling. So once that was done, I covered up all the D-Day stripes and started painting this aluminum color on the bird. I have Vallejo's system on this aluminum finish, and it's called Vallejo Metal Colors, and it has like 16 different types of aluminum colors, and so basically you just go ahead and mask off certain panels of which color that you'd want to stay after you sprayed it, and then you paint on the next color, and after you do it 15 times of 15 different colors, you come out with a nice looking aluminum scheme. Now I probably didn't have to go all out on this, but I ended up doing it anyways and just kept running through all my colors. So I basically painted each panel a different color. If not, like 2 panels were the same color or whatever. Next, I sprayed the canopy and just kept doing this process over and over and over until I got the final result, which was this. And very satisfyingly, it does make a nice aluminum finish with highlighted and not highlighted areas that are very shiny. Almost mirror-like, but not as good as Alclad or any of the newer stuff that's out today, honestly. But it is a system that works, and I do like. And I find that it is actually realistic for World War II times. After some more satisfying tape pulling, we get on to our next segment of satisfying tape pulling. No, olive drab. Obviously, favorite color to spray out and use, and I think I've perfected the olive drab look. Now, I'm not the best. I'm just saying that I know what to do in order to make the effect to my liking the best, which is I spray it olive drab first, and then I do my highlights inside of panel lines, also a black base before the green goes on, but I spray the green on, then I do some highlights, I add some white and yellows to my actual green, and then I spray the inside of the panel lines, making it look like this. Next, I go ahead and do a nice light coat, almost 70% thinned out coat of olive drab over the whole thing. Sometimes I add white to this mix, sometimes I add yellow to the mix. Sometimes I make it lighter than the whole mix beforehand, but this time I just opted to spray it in its original color and not vary it at all. Being very careful to do light, very minimalist coats on the aircraft. You can see all the panel lines and also all the accented colors that I did the pre-work before I sprayed the final coat. So it turned out way better than I expected, and I'm really liking this scheme already. Next, I peel some more tape. Yeah, that's satisfying. And get onto this yellow nose. Now, I'm doing the decal scheme Loui the 5th or whatever, I don't even know. So, it has a big old yellow nose, and I already knew this yellow was going to give me a problem. So, I opted to try out the pink attack. I would call it the pink attack. So, I just mixed a white and red together randomly and tried it out. And it really did work. The white and red gave me a 2-coat yellow scheme, whereas I just did 1 coat of pink and then 2 coats of yellow, and it was literally perfect. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better yellow. The pink is the way to go. I probably will not try it any other way because I know this will work. Next, I added some white to the yellow and then just put on some nice after shading effects, maybe implying some sun damage in those areas. Then I can do some more tape pulling. Yay. Lots and lots of tape pulling on this kit. I'm not bitter. I'm better. That's what it is. Next, I can finally apply the decal after a gloss coat. I always do a gloss coat, especially for these really tricky Tamiya decals, and then just kind of, I don't know, I spent hours doing this. It's a long, strenuous process of using a lot of microsol, microset, time, patience, and a lot of Q-tips. But after they're all set and done, I'm happy with them. You are able to get a nice finish coat with Tamiya decals. You just have to have that water nice and hot, and you gotta have a lot of decal solution. Next, I can apply some of these exhaust things and pop those in there and finally give this thing a nice wash. So I'm just using a dark brown wash for German yellow, and that seemed to be pretty ideal for this yellow coat on the Mustang. I'm sure Ammo Mig will come out with a American yellow wash, whatever, but I used the German one for this one, and that was a joke saying the Ammo Mig comes out with too much products. But anyways, it might not have landed, it might have. I love all their products, so I'm not knocking it. I absolutely love all their products, so no complaints here. Keep making them. And just use some thinner to thin those down in between the seams to make sure that that wasn't such a crisp oil line on the aircraft. Some people really like weathering, and I'm not one of those people. I actually hate weathering. It's my least favorite step. I feel like it's not a waste of time. It's something that really gives the model super character. I love the fact that it gives the model character and that it's a process where we can make it look more realistic. But to me, I hate doing it. It's annoying. It's annoying to dirty your model and then clean it. Like, I already have to clean enough at home. I don't want to clean my airplanes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just annoying. But it's a necessary step, and I get through it every single time I do it. Now you know that I do it every single time without a grin on my face, because some people really like it. But that's not me. Next, some more satisfying tape pulling, and now we can put on all these little parts and pieces that were off the aircraft. And finally, it's done. Kind of. I did apply some chipping methods after I was done here on screen, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and give me a like and subscribe for this P-51 Mustang. I'm really happy you guys watched to the end. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. And I appreciate every view. So enjoy the final pictures. This thing came out really sweet, and super happy with it. So thanks again for watching. Let's get back to building.